Greetings and salutations. I know it's going to be a light day today because I just happen to be streaming at the same time as Mr. David Foster. I don't have any way around that today. I've got appointments I have to make, and I'm missing a mastermind call today. So it is what it is. So, but I'm here. I'm live. I'm back at it. Hello again. My name is Scott Allison, and this is Beyond 280. What is this show? It's been kind of a schizophrenic show in the past, and I say that with a lot of love in my heart. I love the stuff that I did when I first started out, and what I was trying to accomplish. I thought was going to be, just mind blowing, and it was going to change the world, and we all get idealistic sometimes. So I'm back. I'm just getting started. Just like my tagline said today, I am just getting started because, well, let's have a little history lesson. We're gonna go back in time. I don't have the graphics to show you, but we're gonna do a little bit of a history lesson. Back in 2020, I started looking at live streaming for my wife's business. She's a licensed professional counselor, and she wanted to do videos and maybe some live streams to really kind of reach out to the community at large. I mean, we were going through the early part of the pandemic, and I will not say the C word because I mean, I'm a nobody. No one's going to block me or anything, but. Anyway, so we're going through the pandemic, and I started getting into looking into the gear and how do I get started streaming and all that. And this is for my wife's business, but then it started kind of sinking in on me, and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of digging what I'm finding here, because I'm a bit of a techie, and I loved all the gear and all the cameras and computers and microphones, and I was like, I'm gonna live stream myself. So I came up with a show. I've been on Twitter for, I can't remember now, like 9 years now. And I've found it to be a very interesting place. There's a lot of documentaries out there that explain this better than I can, but I found it to be a really interesting experiment in the human condition. And so I was like, you know what, let's do a show about Twitter users. Let's specifically reach out to Twitter users and get them on my show where I would interview them and go beyond the 280 characters, beyond 280, right? That Twitter limits you to, and basically get to know those people and show their humanity, show that they're just like you and me. They put pants on, or they put skirts on, or bras, or whatever. They eat, they drink, they piss, they shit. Oh, by the way, I do curse in this show, so earmuffs if you got little ones. So I wanted to really show that to people, because I felt like, Twitter had become this really just vile place where there was like all this name calling and hatred and death threats and all sorts of fun stuff. And that's just from the Twitter people, that work at Twitter. No, just kidding, Twitter people, don't ban me. But anyways, so I wanted to kind of expose that. So I jumped in head first. I got some gear. I didn't go crazy. Now that's as a creator, just so you know, don't go crazy on the gear. That's like a tried and true rule that you should follow if you are just going out and creating content for the first time. But I went out and got some gear, and I set myself up a little bit of a studio. I joined a creator community. At the time, it was called the Creators Guild. It's now the Creators Lounge. It's basically run by David Foster, who is the original live streaming pro. But I joined that community, learned a lot as I was going, and started streaming. And it was fantastic. And I started streaming 3 nights a week, and I was trying to pull in interviews. And then I was like, oh, instead, while I'm streaming, I'm also going to go in, and I'm going to do a podcast. Yeah, I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to do all this branding and stuff. You know what? I'm going to start creating videos too. So I started learning how to edit videos, and it just, all this stuff was just, all these ideas, and I just went, it was too much. I bit off way too much way more than I could chew, way more than I could swallow. Uh, it was no bueno, and that is an understatement. I, my work, my day job, kind of suffered a little bit. I wasn't spending enough time with my family and with my wife, um, and I started kind of burning out. Kind of up here, my brain started kind of burning out, and I thought I could do it all. And turns out I can't. Imagine that. I'm a human being. I have limitations. So that all that being said, that would be like the number one piece of advice I would give a new creator is to start with what you can do, what you can control, what you can bite off without overwhelming yourself. Because what will happen is if you don't, you will find yourself where I was, burnt out and just kind of done with it. Right? I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love doing this. And I loved it all the way up to the point where I got burnt out. But because I got burnt out, I was just like, I think I'll just sit here and zone out and play some Xbox. Right? So I kind of lurked for a while. I even streamed a couple times in between, but I kind of lurked for a while, and I did some reflecting on my creator journey and realized I was trying to do too much. First of all, there was a problem with my content. The problem with my content was the concept of the interview, which is what kind of the core concept was, right? I wanted to go out and interview Twitter users, and get to know them and basically expose them for being human beings. Hopefully get some empathy stuff going on. A bunch of kumbaya type of moments. And I found that people were not outside of the creator community. I got several interviews from people there, but outside of the creator community who are used to being in front of a camera. Oh, hey, they're used to being in front of a camera. That wasn't a big deal for them to be vulnerable on camera, or if they did a podcast or whatever. That wasn't a big deal. However, your kind of average Twitter user, you're even some of the verified users and users with thousands of followers, they kind of, whoa, I'm not so sure about that. They didn't like to be exposed. They liked their anonymity behind the avatar, right? Behind those 280 characters. And so it was hard. I couldn't get anybody to say, yeah, I'll come on your show. Or they would say, yeah, I'll come on your show. And then I'd reach out and never hear from them again. I scared a lot of people off, basically, I think, is what happened. So I've now decided, and this is the new format of the show. Hi, Michael. How are you doing? Or Mike. If y'all want to know Nailbender, there he is. He is the man with many eyes. So I basically have abandoned that concept. Now, the concept in general, going beyond 280 characters, is still intact. But and I still want to do interviews. I would still love to. If anybody wants to come on the show and debate me or talk about Twitter trends or whatever, come on, bring it. But the concept of the show now is I'm still going to look beyond 280 characters, but I'm going to do it in a digest format. And what does that mean? So, if you've ever subscribed or read the Reader's Digest, it's basically I think what they called a periodical, where they released a bunch of writings from people, but it's from the previous, since the last episode, the last publication. That's what I'm going to do with this show. So starting next Friday, I'm going to have a Twitter Digest show, basically, where I'm going to explore the previous week's trends, the stupid things people have done on Twitter or said on Twitter. I'll highlight some very specific news stories, and of course, through all that, put my own spin on things and my own flavor, my own color, if you will. And I would love to have you guys come with me and experience the same thing with me. Debate me. I would love for people to come and debate me, because discourse is so important and it's lost in this country. We've lost the ability to have rational and thoughtful debate and discourse in this country. And so I would love to have that here on this show. So as you can see, I'm not biting off more than I can chew. I am going to come on once a week. And then with that content, and I will give credit where credit is due. I got the idea from Mr. Joseph Clough. If you have not, if you don't know who Joseph Clough is, he's a hypnotherapist, an amazing dude. He's got a great YouTube channel. You can go check him out, Joseph, and it's Clough, Joseph Clough. What he does with his live streams is that he basically comes here and we sit down and we have some chat and we kind of talk and whatever, and then he just goes, puts up a little stinger, comes up, and he does his show. And sometimes it's very specific to a certain topic. Sometimes he does basically virtual hypnosis, which is amazing. If you haven't done it, give it a try. It's really, really cool. But he does his content, and then he ends it. But the stream still goes on because then he re-engages with his audience. So I'm going to be following that same type of format. I'm going to do what I'm doing here. I'm going to be live streaming, but at some point I'm going to go, I know, I need to record that, and basically, start my show, where I'm going to hide chat for the duration of the show, unless I'm, actively looking for participants, and then I'm going to go into my bit, and I'm going to, I'm basically going to be doing stuff like showing you what's on Twitter. Oh, hey, look at that. Mr. David Foster just happens to be streaming on Twitter. Who knew? And then I, will probably show some screenshots from articles and that sort of thing. So I'm going to be running the show single. I'm not going to have a guest on unless somebody said, hey, can I be on your show? I want to debate you. I'll bring you on. No problem. And as I build my community, which I hope to get a community, a bunch of people that, want to have discourse, that want to, get behind the veil of social media, and, let's get together. Let's do it. Then I'm going to start expanding the show. I may add another show. I may just do more videos. But the whole idea is that during that time period where it's just me and the show, after I'm done, I'm taking that and I'm going to edit it, and that's going to be my regular video. And then I'm also going to take the sound, the audio from that, and turn it into my podcast. So what I have effectively done as a creator is an all-in-one show that gives me, basically 3 venues. It gives me the live stream, it gives me the video, and it gives me the podcast. And that way I can reach more people, and more people can become engaged and learn more about what's going on behind the veil, beyond 280. So what do you think about that? If you are a social media person, or you're interested in social media, or you're just a casual follower, that sort of thing interests you, do you want to get to know more about the topics at hand? I mean, ultimately my idea is to go in and look at these trending topics, and when I say going beyond the 280 character limit, I truly mean that, because in 280 characters, even if you do a thread, in 280 characters, it's very hard to convey specific opinions and facts and have discourse without context. A lot of times, that's what happens with social media. Is you end up losing that context, or you end up looking so colored in your ideology that people just ignore you, or they lash out at you, or what have you. I want to try to kind of bridge that gap between that 280 character limit and the actual context, right? And do it in a way that hopefully makes people think, that makes people go, oh yeah, I never thought about this that way, or oh wow, you mean this person was saying that, but the reality was this? I mean, this is the world we live in, because there are let's get down to brass tacks. We're going to get a little political here. Got the left, which I guess on your screen is the right, and yeah. So you got the two sides, and you got everybody else in the middle. And what's happened is that these two sides have drifted farther and further apart. So much so that they can't even communicate anymore. It's not possible for them to communicate. And it's gotten so bad that even if you have a fact and logic and reason on one side, and it's irrefutable, the other side will be like, oh, no, it's not. And that's I think a direct result of our social media climate. You know, the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Instagrams, all of it. And in fact, I want to do a show specifically around social media and the effects that it has specifically on young girls, on teenage girls, and even younger, and what that's been doing to them. Now, my wife is a licensed professional counselor. I mentioned in the beginning of the show, and she sees this. She sees this firsthand, what social media is doing to young girls. And I'm flabbergasted by the stuff I've seen and read about, some of the studies I've read about, you know, some of the documentaries that have come and tried to address these very situations. And very often they just sweep this stuff under the rug. Parents and teachers and doctors and stuff just sweep it under the rug. And well, because there's money to be made, right? So the doctors and the teachers and all that, there's money to be made and all this. Anyways, that's a topic for another day. Today, what I'm going to do, now that I've reintroduced myself to you, I am now going to just kind of hang out. Let's hang out. Let's go check out what's going on. Again, I need to kind of reflect, work out these muscles, these creator muscles. Today's stream is really just kind of loosey-goosey. I'm not gonna, it's no format. I'm not gonna highlight any specific topic. But I will do is let's dive into Twitter, see what's going on today. I purposefully stayed off of Twitter for the most part today, so I don't really even know what's going on right now. I don't know what's going on in the Ukraine. I don't know what's going on with the stock market. Don't know what's going on in the sports outside of the fact that Houston sport. Although we've got the Houston Gamblers, so there's some hope there. Anyway, and just kind of go through this and let's see what we find. And maybe we're going to see kind of a seed of something that I'll have on next week's show that we'll dive into even more. So let's get down to it. So as you can see, I'm in Twitter. By the way, if you want to connect with me on Twitter, my handle is beyond_280. And that's my little icon right there. So you can see that little icon. And there's my friend David Foster. He's going and he's looking at Alex's channel. He's doing a kind of a channel review today. Hope he doesn't go look at mine because mine is. But I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get better. So just real quick, Mike says he'll debate me, but we're on the same page about a lot of things. Anyways, yeah, this is true. This is true, Mike, because we don't want, but that's the thing. Here's the thing about that, Mike, is that I don't want to be in that bubble. And I think that's a problem on both sides, on the right and the left, is that we tend to get comfortable in that bubble and hearing the things that we want to hear, hearing the things that make sense to us. And what it does is it stifles our growth, it stifles our ability to reason, it stifles our worldview, right? Where, in some cases to a fault, where it's so painful to face some realities that maybe we had some preconceived notions about. It's very hard to do. It's a human thing, but it's gotten worse. And I, again, it's a topic for another day, but I think social media has a lot to do with that. So let's get to it. So I'm going to hop on Twitter and we'll just see what we see. Okay. I've got to move some stuff around, but there we go. All right. So as I said, David is also streaming on Twitter. I have not gotten into that part. I'm going to at some point. I do want to try it out, but I'm not there yet. So let's go. We go this little hashtag here, and this gets us to the For You, the trending, that an entire an entire C19 section, a news section, sports section, entertainment section. The sports and entertainment the sports one depresses me because, Houston sports. Although U of H is in the Elite Eight this week. and entertainment. I like entertainment just as much as the next person, but it's all so woke and terrible and boring. The news, anyways. I like going to movies and stuff like that, but the stuff behind it, I could do without. So the For You section is supposed to be kind of like an algorithm supported. Here's a list of things that you want to see based on the things that you've liked or clicked on or whatever. A lot of times it's bullshit because a lot of times they're just pushing what they want you to see. So like the war in Ukraine. I've peripherally been paying attention to that. I know the root causes. I know how complex the issue is. I'm a little saddened by how so many Americans have just like instantly embraced the Ukraine. It's not because I think the Ukraine that Ukrainians are bad people or that the government is necessarily bad, but they're no angels. And war is never good, but it's a lot more nuanced than just like Russia bad, Ukraine good. It's a lot more to it than that, and it breaks my heart a little bit that so many Americans are just like instantly embracing Ukraine without knowing the facts. And that's another topic for another day. But yeah, so look, they're continuing to face a lot of attacks there. We're talking about this photographer captured what might be the most iconic image from Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation hearing so far. So I'm kind of curious about this because is this it? Oh yeah, so it's this picture here of this woman looking, lovingly at, is that her daughter? I'm not sure who that is. Oh, it is her daughter. And just how lovingly she's looking at her mom. Of course she is. Of course she is. Why is this a story? I saw, like a lot of people on the left, like posting, like, oh, this is amazing. Ketanji is amazing. She's an amazing mother. It's like, I don't think anybody doubts that Ketanji's probably, or Justice Jackson is a bad person of any kind, necessarily. I don't believe that. Or that she's maybe a bad mother or something. This is a great picture. I love the look of that, of her daughter just, lovingly looking upon her mother. But the idea behind this picture is to kind of stifle some of the facts, to gloss over some of the things, beliefs that Justice Jackson, was she considered a justice? Is she just a judge? I think she's just a judge. But anyways, justice she'd be in the Supreme Court, so we'd call her that. A little bit of water. But Judge Jackson, has some. She believes in activism from the bench. Let's just put it that way. Sotomayor believed it too. Kagan believed it too. It's why they're there. It's to act, be activists. It's not what the Supreme Court's supposed to be, but yeah, we have them. And Jackson is that as well. It has nothing to do with her skin color and nothing to do with her background or whatever. She just wants to be an activist judge, and she proved it. She's proved it. She basically said that's exactly what she wants to do. In these cases where she ruled on pedophiles and and their sentencing and gave them far less than what the minimum or the minimum and maximum were in those cases, and she basically said, "Oh well, they don't really deserve that kind of punishment." In fact, she said a lot of judges do this as a way of changing the system. That's activism. Pure and simple, that is activism. I don't want to judge liberal, conservative, in between, whatever, being an activist. I want them to interpret the law, because that's what their job is to interpret the law. Not add their own spin to things, not give their opinion on whether something is bad or good, or something that makes everybody happy or makes everybody sad or whatever. That's not their job. Their job is to take a case, interpret how the law is being used in this case, and rule accordingly. How the law, not some feeling or I don't like it when pedophiles get harsh sentences. No. So a lot of people have framed this on the left, have framed this as Republicans, calling her a pedophile lover and stuff like that. I don't think that's what it is at all. I think in her heart of heart, Judge Jackson believes with all her heart that people deserve a second chance, and that the only way that she can, affect change is to do it from the bench. She's wrong. It's plain and simple. She's wrong. I'm not a lawyer. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be a lawyer to have an opinion, by the way, for all you lefties out there. But she's wrong. That is not her job. If she wants to go and do that, great. Become an activist. Go out and become an activist. Run for office and affect change that way. Get some laws passed that will, do what you want them to do. Reduce the sentence of pedophiles if you want. Go ahead. But don't do that from the bench. That's not your job. Okay. So that's that iconic photograph, which I thought was pretty interesting. So who is Alina Kabeva, the star gymnast rumored to be Putin's girlfriend? Ooh, Putin has a girlfriend. I don't care. Under fire, out of fuel, and no air support. So here's some more. So everybody wants to talk about Russia propaganda, right? Everybody wants to talk about how the Russians just propaganda. They did get Trump elected, right? I mean, if you believe the left, Trump was a Putin agent, and that's how he became president because of Russian propaganda or something. I don't know. But the reality is that in the fog of war and in politics and when governments are vying for power, the reality is that propaganda is used by everybody. And I see stories like this: under fire, out of fuel, and no air support. What intercepted Russian radio chatter reveals. The Russians are totally going down based on this radio chatter. Bullshit. I instantly call bullshit on stuff like this. I see stories like this and I immediately go, well, this is probably taken way out of context on purpose to drive a specific narrative, which is also known as propaganda. So if you read a story like this or you see a tweet like this, everyone should number one, read it. Don't just look at the headline, which I'm doing here. I know, a bad example. But two, go look for other sources. Don't just assume the New York Times is the source. Don't just assume that Fox News is the source. Don't just assume that One America News Network is the source. Go out and do some digging. If you really want to know the truth, 99% of the time, the truth is in the middle somewhere. So, you'll have a Fox News story that's completely contradicting? Sure, why not? It's contradicting the New York Times. Well, Fox has an agenda. New York Times has an agenda. More than likely, when you look at these stories and they overlap a little bit, the truth is like right there in that gap where my mouth is, right? If you believe otherwise, you're probably not doing your due diligence, and you're probably somebody who is going to vote blindly in the next election for your side. And that's a problem. That's one of the reasons why we've gotten to the point where we are. One of the reasons why we've gotten Barack Obama, why we've gotten Trump, and then as a result of Trump, we got Biden. I mean, these last... Well, how many years has it been now? So these last 14 years has been, you can probably lump Bush in there a little bit, I think, as well. But really, from a presidential standpoint, and really from a congressional standpoint and Senate, we've gotten a lot of crap as far as leadership is concerned. A lot of just BS as far as leadership is concerned. And it's been bad for our country. It's obvious. I mean, no one respects us anymore. Everybody's laughing at us with good reason. I laugh at us. I love my country, but I'm constantly laughing at our country because we're a bunch of fuck ups. I told you I was going to cuss, right? So I might dig into this story over the weekend and do a little bit more digging on this. But the way it's just worded here just really just screams propaganda to me. So yeah. So let's go on, shall we? We got cancel culture. A lot of these stories are older. I wonder if I've not refreshed in a while. So the Twitter app for the Mac is not the best. So sometimes you have to refresh. Yeah, looks like well, no, it didn't. All right, we'll go to trending. Oh, here's what I love about the trending stuff. Look at this. One, two. So the two of the top five these are basically ads trending that are trending. This is one of the reasons why sometimes I think I just want to leave Twitter forever, because I see stuff like this, and this is the sort of stuff that is presented to you if you go with the default view in Twitter, which is what they want you to see instead of a chronological timeline. So this is so telling. I'm surprised they haven't tried to hide this, but whatever. Nicki Minaj is trending with her "We Go Up" release single, featuring 5EO Foreign. Trending Bitcoin, please. Trending Triple H. Atmos Collectors Club. What? The Saints have signed former Chiefs safety Daniel Sorensen. Boring. Okay, this was one I was interested in. Let's come over here. So J.K. Rowling, beloved children's book author, and I read the books as an adult. So does that make me a man-child? Neither here nor there. Responds to Russian President Vladimir Putin's comment comparing the international response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine to criticism the author has received for her views on gender, which LGBTQ groups have condemned. So let's unpack this for a second. I've got some time, and I know there's only like one of you watching right now, so totally cool. J.K. Rowling is a extremely accomplished writer, and if you've ever heard her speak for any length of time, she's also very smart. She's a highly intelligent person. I mean, you don't become as successful as she did and not be intelligent. But she has, basically always been a champion for LGBTQ, IA ... whatever. Good for her. That's her right. That's what she wants to do. Fantastic. But she's also at heart a feminist. And in our times, the progressive, how do I put this? The progressive snake, if you will, is eating itself. It's eating its own tail. You've seen that imagery of a snake eating its own tail, right? Because that's what progressivism is basically doing today, is eating itself. And how is it doing that? Well, because it goes out there and it promotes, transgenderism. Okay, that's their prerogative. But then it overshoots, right? And it goes to the point where it basically says, you know what, in women's sports, it's okay if biological males compete in women's sports, despite the overwhelming science and thousands of years of just observability that men, for the most part, are stronger, faster, denser than women. You can hate me all you want for that. It's a scientific fact. And I'm not saying every female athlete is, not as fast or strong or whatever as some male athletes, but that's generally the case. And so the militant side of the LGBTQ community are just trying to destroy people who don't, subscribe to anti-science, and who want to protect some things that women have fought very, very hard over many years and centuries to get to. And one of those areas happens to be sports. The other, and in general, just being a woman. And so J.K. Rowling, I think, is a brave individual. I mean, she can afford to be brave. Let's toss that aside, right? She can afford to be brave. She's a billionaire, but she has come out and strongly stated in no uncertain terms that women should not be erased. That a biological woman is not the same as a trans woman. XXXY. That's all you have to say about that. And she had been lambasted by the LGBTQ community. Lambasted. Just if she had been, just kind of a run-of-the-mill author, or maybe a slightly popular YouTube personality or whatever, she'd already have lost her career by now. And it's gotten so bad that even people that were associated with her, like from the movies and stuff like that, have been turning their backs on her because she believes that women are women and that they should be protected, which I strongly believe as well. I guess I'm a feminist at heart. I want women to succeed. I want women to have a fair shake. I want women to be able to go to the bathroom without having to see a penis, or go to, a swim meet and then, or participate in a swim meet and then get in the shower and not have to see a naked man across from me. I would think that would be fantastic if I were a woman to not have to have all that. Where are the feminists? Where are they when it comes to all this stuff? But anyways, so she had been lambasted about all this stuff. And so Putin comes along, I think this was yesterday or earlier this morning, that basically the Russian president compared the international response of Russia's invasion to Ukraine to criticism the author has received for her views on gender. So J.K. Rowling has basically come back and said, wait a second. Yeah, so let's go see what she has to say. I'm going to have to bring this up here, and we'll switch to desktop view. Hello, desktop view. So let's see what she has to say here. Oh, look at all these ads. Good Lord. Come on, BBC. Do me better than this. Why this ad? Okay, now you can go away. Why can't I close this? All right, anyways. So J.K. Rowling has hit back at Vladimir Putin after the Russian president cited her in a wide-ranging speech that saw him criticize cancel culture. So cancel culture is a real thing. The left will tell you, oh, no, it's not. That's not real. Nah, bullshit. It's real. They went after Joe Rogan because he took a human, a human-approved drug to fight his COVID infection. They basically kept saying, oh, you're taking horse paste. It's horse, medicine. No, it wasn't horse medicine. But they kept saying it anyways because narrative. The narrative is the only thing that matters to these people. But anyways, so that's just a famous example, but people are canceled all the time. At a televised meeting on Friday, Mr. Putin compared recent criticism of the Harry Potter author to that faced by pro-war Russian composers and writers. In response, Ms. Rowling denounced the invasion of Ukraine, in which she said Russia was slaughtering civilians. So there's been a little bit of proof of this, by the way. So Rowling has been criticized for her views on transgender issues. Critiques of Western cancel culture are possibly not best made by those currently slaughtering civilians for the crime of resistance, or who jail and poison their critics, the Harry Potter author wrote on Twitter. Oh, J.K. Rowling didn't kill herself. Ooh, that was hardcore. In the lengthy speech, which was given to the winners of various I can't speak today, cultural prizes, President Putin claimed Russian composers and writers were being discriminated against for being pro-war, apparently. They are trying to cancel a 1,000-year-old country. They're trying to cancel you, Putin, just so you know. Anyway, some events featuring pro-war Russians have been canceled since Moscow invaded. And there goes Twitter. Interesting. Where was it? Some events featuring pro-war Russians have been canceled since Moscow invaded Ukraine last month. A much smaller number of events have been canceled due to their use of music by dead Russian composers. Yeah. Let me just make a comment here. If you are of the belief that you should be boycotting Russian vodka, or you should stop credit card companies from engaging in business with Russia, you're not hurting anybody except Russians, innocent Russian people. Stop. This is stupid. Stop it. Don't boycotts don't work anyways. So just stop. Anyway, some events featuring they are banning Russian writers and books. He said the proverbial cancel culture has become a cancellation of culture. He's not wrong. Remember Dr. Seuss? Just saying. Mr. Putin then defended Miss Rowling, who has faced criticism for her comments on transgender issues. She denies accusations of transphobia. Of course she does, because she's been a believer of it. J.K. Rowling was canceled because she, a writer of books that have sold millions of copies around the world, didn't please fans of so-called gender freedoms, Mr. Putin claimed. The writer has said her interest in trans issues stems from being a survivor of abuse and having concerns around single-sex spaces. Critics have said her views have diminished the identity of trans people. Here, let me fix that sentence. Critics have said her views have diminished the identity of less than 1% of the world's population. There, I fixed it. So let's unpack this. So Putin is basically saying that the West is canceling Russian writers, or pro-war Russian writers, musicians, artists in general. And I hate to say it, I agree with Putin on this one. That's not helping anybody. Boycotts don't work. How many times have we done boycotts in this country and it's all fallen flat on their face? All the time. But they're banning Russian writers and books. And then he goes on to say, that J.K. Rowling is being canceled because of her, because she didn't please so-called fans of, that's funny, fans of so-called gender freedoms. So, difference is that J.K. Rowling is a billionaire and she can withstand it. I wouldn't want to go through it like she is, but she can withstand it. She's not truly being canceled. So conductor Valery Gergiev, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who attended Friday's meeting with the president, has been dropped by festivals, concert halls, and management after he failed to condemn Russia's invasion of its eastern neighbor. This is very USSR kind of feeling. He's probably funded by the state. So he's probably funded by the state. So he probably is scared to, lose that money, lose that state, maybe even lose his livelihood by getting thrown into a gulag somewhere. So this is very USSR-like. So I don't think artists in general are pro-war. That's been my experience over the years. So I doubt very seriously that all these artists and musicians and writers who are Russian, of the Russian variety are being canceled because they're pro-war. I don't think that's happening. I think they're being canceled because they have to show that they're pro-war. Otherwise, by artists. I think that's what it is. USSR style politics. Earlier this month, a Welsh orchestra dropped music by the Russian composer Tchaikovsky from a concert because of the war. Is Tchaikovsky pro-war from beyond the grave? See, people are stupid. Oh God, my head hurts. People are so stupid when it comes to this stuff. How is this helping anybody? Tchaikovsky is one of the greatest composers of all time. His music is timeless. It'll always be there. It'll always be available. Are you hurting? Is Putin all of a sudden going to say, "Oh, the Welsh orchestra, this Welsh orchestra dropped Tchaikovsky. Oh, I'm done. Pull our troops out. I'm done. I can't fight a war so long as people are canceling Tchaikovsky." I'm going to do my best education impersonation. Anyway, so when the humanitarian crisis is over, the discussion about woke and cancel culture can have its place. That's what the Cardiff Philharmonic Orchestra said in a statement. Russia's invasion, which is entering its second month, has sparked a major humanitarian crisis with more than 10 million people displaced. Okay, so this is much ado about nothing. So Putin cited J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling said, "Hey, don't cite me. I don't want nothing to do with your warmongering ass." And then I know there's people on the left somewhere, and maybe that's something I'll explore, are going, "Oh, J.K. Rowling was just, basically uplifted by Putin. She's a Russian agent. She's colluding with Putin. She's a warmonger. She hates Ukraine." That's where it's going to go, because she's the devil woman now, because she wants women to not be canceled. This is where we're at. This is the craziness of where we're at. So my Twitter client crashed, so I'm back to square one. So we'll go back here. I've only got a few more minutes left. I cannot hang out much longer. So I am going to end my stream here shortly, because I have appointments like crazy. So next week, just so you know, I'll let you know now, next week I will be streaming a little later in the day. And the reason why I'm streaming so early today is well, first of all, this was just going to be my test stream. Now, I'm back and here I am and all that. But ultimately, my streams are going to be later in the day. I've not decided yet. But if you want to know when I'm going live, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the little bell button so that you're notified when I do go live. So that way you can come and be a part of the love, of course. Can't you feel the love tonight? So once again, come and hang out with me. So let's see what else is going on. Let's go look at trending again. We go down here. We go J.K. Rowling. We saw that Dirty Dan in football. Who cares? Kirby reviews pour out for the newly released video game Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Side note, my middle son loves Kirby, so he's probably really excited about this. And if you don't know who Kirby is, then we probably can't be friends. Sorry. See, Snoop Dogg is trending. Figure skating is trending. It's not a sport. Kaori. Okay, that's figure skating. Ian Rappaport is talking about sports. GTA Online. GTA Plus, a new premium subscription service for Grand Theft Auto Online. That's interesting. So if you've ever played any of the Grand Theft Auto online, you know that's a pretty cool experience. What are they going to do with a plus? Is this supposed to be like Disney Plus or, Paramount Plus or all the other pluses? At what point are we going to stop doing pluses? Black News Channel to shut down. Is it bad that I didn't know that there was a black news channel? Black news channel shut down. Let's read about this. I've not heard of the channel backed by Jacksonville Jaguars owner Shahid Khan, launched in 2020, so it haven't been around that long. It's an independent cable news channel founded to give a voice to perspectives underrepresented on legacy cable news channels is shutting down. Oh, all right. Geez, leave me alone. All right. Channel rebooted itself last year with high-profile talent as Charles Blow, Mark Lamont Hill. Okay. Well, that sucks. I don't like to see any new ventures fail. I would like to see, them continue. Neither here nor there. I forgot that I was supposed to switch to desktop and show you that story, but that's okay because I'm just getting my muscle memory back. Okay. So all that being said, let's go back to trending and see what else is going on in the world. Some politics trending here. Jenny Thomas. CBS News and Washington Post have obtained copies of numerous texts between Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas' wife, Jenny Thomas, and President Trump's White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows about efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Oh my goodness, they got him. They finally got him. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. They finally got the son of a gun. Let's see what this is all about, shall we? Jenny Thomas, Justice Clarence Thomas' wife, exchanged texts with Mark Meadows about efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Let's see what some of these messages said. Okay, this is interesting. Those messages, part of 29 total messages obtained, reveal an extraordinary pipeline between Virginia Thomas, who goes by Jenny, and then President Donald Trump's top aide during a period when Trump and his allies were vowing to go to the Supreme Court in an effort to subvert the election results. So, challenge and subvert. Look at the language here. This is what the left does. The language is everything to the left, because if they just tweak little things here and there, they then uphold their narrative. I need to sneeze and I don't have a mute button. Sorry, excuse me. I forgot to add a mute button to my production. One thing more to do. So, in an effort to subvert the election results, you don't subvert things by going to the Supreme Court. You challenge things by going to the Supreme Court. Most human beings, most sentient, halfway intelligent human beings know this, but they tweak it ever so slightly so it just kind of, sits in your brain like, Trump was trying to subvert the election. But just so you know, Trump lost. There's no doubt in my mind. And yes, there was some, silliness going on in the polls, but he lost. That's his own fault. Anyway, the messages, which do not directly reference Justice Thomas or the Supreme Court, they were trying to subvert it by going to the Supreme Court, but these text messages have nothing to do about the Supreme Court. Show for the first time how Jenny Thomas used her access to Trump's inner circle to encourage and seek to guide the president's strategy to overturn the election results, and how receptive and grateful Meadows said he was to receive her advice. Among Thomas's stated goals in the messages was for lawyer Sidney Powell, who promoted incendiary and unsupported claims about the elections, to become the lead and the face of Trump's legal team. The messages were among the 2,300 messages that Meadows provided the House Select Committee? See, I can't speak today. Investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. The existence of messages between Thomas and Meadows, 21 sent by her, 8 by him, have not previously been reported and reviewed by CBS News and the Post. They were then confirmed by 5 people who have seen the committee's documents. So apparently you have to go and you have to read something behind a paywall. Let's see, is this a paywall? Okay, here we go. Here's some of the messages. Oh, go away. All right. Help this great president stand firm, Mark. You are the leader. With him who is standing for president of constitutional governance at the precipice, the majority knows Biden and the left is attempting the greatest heist of our history. Yeah, that's not good. It is this statement is just, it's not good. When Meadows wrote to Thomas on November 24th, this is a fight of good versus evil. Meadows wrote, evil always looks like the victor until the King of Kings triumphs. Do not grow weary in well-doing. The fight continues. I have staked my career on it. Well, at least my time in D.C. on it. Thank you. Needed that, plus a conversation with my best friend just now. I will try to keep holding on. America is worth it. Okay, so she mentioned, the heist. But it seems like that's about it. I'm looking for more. I don't see any other issues here. Yeah. So she said one thing in all of this that was basically, stop the steal. Trump, I'm glad he's gone, but at the same time we've got Biden. But Trump killed himself. He killed himself. He got himself voted out. It was all on him. Nothing else. Yes, there were shenanigans going on the polls. There is every year. Every presidential election, there's shenanigans. But Trump lost because he's an egomaniac and can't keep his big mouth shut. That is the basis for why he lost. The country was going in the right direction under his leadership. I hate to say it because I was very much a never Trumper, but I hate to say it, but he was. If he had just shut his face, just did the occasional, press conference and just head down and did his job, we'd still have a President Trump today. But alas, we do not. We've got the geriatric in chief. So that's where I'm going to leave us today. I've got like a bunch of stuff lined up this evening that I've got to go take care of. But I'm so glad to be back. My voice is raw because I'm not used to doing this, but that's okay. It's been fun. So come back. Be sure to, again, subscribe. Come check me out next week, next Friday. It'll be sometime around 5-ish, so 5 Central Time. I am in the Central Time Zone. But come check me out. Come with me on this journey on where we're going to go beyond the 280 characters. I'm going to be a lot more focused next week because I'm going to have a full week's worth of content to work with. And yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing this journey. And yeah, I'm just getting started, guys. So peace out. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week.